Have you ever looked up at the sky and felt a sense of wonder? A sense of longing? For thousands of years, that's all humanity could do. We watched the birds, we dreamed of clouds, but our feet remained firmly on the ground. Every attempt to conquer the sky ended in failure. Everything that flew fell. Everything that rose inevitably crashed. The experts, the scholars, the powerful voices of the time all agreed. They said, "It's impossible." They called it madness. They declared, "The sky is not for man." But history is often changed by those who refuse to listen. In a small bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, two brothers heard those voices and chose to believe in something else. They weren't famous scientists. They didn't have a prestigious education or wealthy backers. They had no government contracts, no fancy laboratories. They were just two ordinary men with an extraordinary obsession: Wilbur and Orville Wright. While the world dismissed the idea of flight as a childish fantasy, these two brothers were busy doing their homework. Their classroom was the open field. Their teachers were the birds soaring overhead. They would watch for hours, for days, studying the subtle movements of wings against the wind. They observed how a single feather could be held aloft by the air, how a hawk adjusted its wings to find perfect balance. Through patient observation, they unlocked a fundamental truth that had eluded so many others. Flight wasn't magic. It was physics. It was engineering. It was a puzzle of lift, thrust, drag, and control. And they were determined to solve it. Their laboratory was their humble bicycle workshop, filled with the smell of oil and sawdust. Their tools were simple: a wrench, a ruler, a sewing machine for the wing fabric, and an unwavering belief in their idea. They started with kites, then gliders, building, testing, and often crashing. But for the Wrights, every failure was a lesson. Every broken spar of spruce, every torn piece of muslin was a clue. Each crash wasn't an end. It was a data point, pushing them to refine their design, to rethink their approach. They were learning the language of the sky, one painful splintered lesson at a time. They built their own wind tunnel, a simple wooden box with a fan to test wing shapes. They meticulously recorded their findings, creating the first reliable aerodynamic data in history. They weren't just building a machine, they were writing the textbook on aviation as they went. Their quest for the perfect testing ground led them to a desolate strip of sand on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, Kitty Hawk. It was remote, battered by constant winds and far from prying eyes. It was the perfect, unforgiving stage for their grand experiment. Here they faced bitter cold, relentless wind, and swarms of mosquitoes. They lived in a makeshift shed, repairing their gliders after each punishing flight, their hands raw, their bodies bruised, but their spirits unbroken. They were in a battle not just against gravity, but against the elements themselves. Finally, the day came. December 17th, 1903. The air was cold and the wind was fierce. Their creation, the flyer, stood waiting. It was a fragile-looking contraption of wood, fabric, and wire, powered by a simple, custom-built engine. It was the physical embodiment of years of dreams, calculations, and relentless effort. Orville won the coin toss. He lay flat on the lower wing, his hands on the controls. Wilbur steadied the wingtip, running alongside as the machine rattled down its short wooden track. There was a sputter, a roar from the small engine, and then a moment that changed the world forever. The wheels lifted from the sand. The flyer was airborne. It lasted only 12 seconds. It traveled just 120 feet, shorter than the wingspan of a modern jumbo jet. But in those 12 seconds, history was rewritten. Humanity had flown. There was no cheering crowd, no flashing cameras, just 5 local witnesses, 2 brothers, and a sky that had finally surrendered its secret. They made 3 more flights that day, the longest lasting nearly a minute. They had done it. The news didn't exactly take the world by storm. Many newspapers refused to believe the reports, dismissing them as a hoax. But the Wrights weren't seeking fame. They continued their work in secret, refining their machine, making it more stable, more controllable. Within a few short years, their airplanes were flying for hours, performing complex maneuvers and capturing the imagination of the entire planet. The sound of skeptical laughter was replaced by the roar of engines. Just a decade after that first fragile flight, their invention was crossing oceans, shrinking the globe, and connecting humanity in ways never before imagined. The world would never look the same again. Wilbur and Orville Wright didn't set out to become historical icons. They weren't chasing wealth or glory. They were driven by a pure, powerful curiosity. They simply wanted to solve a problem and prove that the doubters were wrong. They wanted to show the world that humans were not destined to only walk the earth. We were meant to have wings. They were two ordinary men from Ohio who took a dream, added dedication and ingenuity, and gave the entire world the gift of flight. They are a timeless reminder that with enough passion, perseverance, and faith in an idea, the impossible can become possible. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible story. If you were inspired by the journey of the Wright brothers, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more stories about the people who dared to change our world. Until next time, keep looking up.